What's up everyone, this is Soul with another video, and I'd say like about 45 seconds ago or so, I just got off a group interview with game director Ion Hazzikostas, who answered a bunch of questions from content creators about some of the, some big stuff about Embers of Neltharion 10.1, as well as the rest of Dragonflight, like what's going on, what do we have to look forward to. A lot of the information that we learned from it, frankly, is stuff that we've been kind of reading about over on Wowhead and from other interviews, such as Mr. GM, but I'm going to share what we had learned today. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more content, that sort of stuff, and I'm going to be reading off here at some notes. Let's first talk about gear upgrades. Now, this system as it is right now, it's very much an experiment. It's not something that, that the team is already like looking far ahead into the future and how it's going to work in like every expansion ever. They're very much on a wait and see sort of approach, which is a lot of what the information that we got throughout this interview was. So when it comes to the way the storage is, the way the naming conventions are, these are all things that are, again, an experiment. They're up in flux. It could be regulated into something that's much more, I guess, just more simple to understand, that isn't super thematic as the way that they are right now. And they very much want to get it into players' hands first, let them try it out, see how it goes, and in case it doesn't work out, they can effectively just lift the whole thing away and leave everything as normal, and we wouldn't really notice much of a difference apart from it, the whole gearing scheme still feeling the same as the 10.0 of Dragonflight. One of the questions talked about the possibility of promoting gear, like can we upgrade gear from the explorer level to adventurer to veteran to champion to hero or something like that. And Ian brought up a pretty good example, and this example was, let's say you're progressing through like the heroic version of this upcoming raid of Aberrus, and you're on the last boss and you beat the last boss. It's like, hey, cool, this really nice trinket dropped. But you already have that trinket. In fact, you already have the exact trinket with the same level because you had gotten a previous version of it from like Raid Finder, and you had been upgrading it throughout, throughout your journey through the raid, and then you already have it. And it's something that they're not exactly saying no to, but it's one of those things that's like, well, isn't that kind of weird? And so I guess, again, what they're going to do is kind of look and see how players are responding to upgrades and listen to feedback, and then respond from there in possibly 10.1.5 or probably a later patch. The other small thing that kind of came to mind for me as Ian was explaining this was, well, what if something from the outdoor world, because even outdoor content stuff is going to have these upgrade levels, what if you were able to eventually promote that gear into like super mythic level? Is that going to mean that your best in slot is going to be something that you find in the outdoor world, and is that intended? I don't know. They talked about the guild member and the BattleNet friend cap. They'd love to make it bigger. It's just kind of a technical limitation. They've also, Ian also pointed out that most guilds that are actually reaching this guild cap, the guild cap, for the most part, they're just old guilds like mine. Like my guild's really old. It has about 900 something members, but I would say like 90 something percent of those are just like alts. So not to say that they don't want to cater to those very few guilds that do in fact have like 1,000 or so active members, but that's just, I guess, how they're basing their priority on. When it comes to cross-faction guild invites, they're trying to stick with the philosophy as this is supposed to be an opt-in thing, and they don't want to have like any sort of instance where a player might be fooled into joining a guild and all of a sudden they're joining an opposite faction guild and they don't know that. Now, I would have loved to have followed that up with some sort of like proper messaging, confirmation, things like that, that say, hey, you're going to join this opposite faction guild and here are the benefits and here are the restrictions from that. Do you still wish to join? But I think that at least at the moment, the team doesn't even want to go that far and potentially put that person in an awkward situation. Like, for example, like what if cross-faction, like just whispering to each other was like really, really easy to do. Person A and person B are talking, they're, chumming it up and everything seems cool, but they forget to mention cross-faction. The person tries to invite them, they get into an opposite faction guild, and then it's suddenly revealed that they're super racist against each other in an in-game sense. Again, it just sounds like the WoW team is being extremely conservative when it comes to dissolving these walls. It's not just knocking them down, they're just trying to, slowly phase it out. The other piece of it, and I don't entirely agree with this either, is that they're trying to focus the idea of cross-faction guild invites as this is more like an exceptional kind of grouping. This is a feature that is catering groups of friends that already are friends. They just happen to be in different factions and they just want to play together. It's not exactly meant for like the random invite or signing up and just meeting with strangers. It's something that, again, I don't entirely agree with it. That was the reason. Thankfully, he also added in that this is just like one step of a long process, and in the end, we are eventually going to get to that point where everything is cross-faction. It's just a matter of when, and to that, I say boo. Closely related, cross-faction queues, that is pretty much next in line as for the thing that they're going to do next. And when they're talking about cross-faction queues, they're specifically talking about pre-mades. So if you have a full group and you happen to be cross-faction, you should be able to sign up for your normal dungeons, your heroics, your time walking, and so on and so forth. So if you can get a full pre-made group for Raid Finder, great. I doubt that's going to be a whole part of it, but it looks like, yes, that's the kind of next step that they're going to take. They talked about the Raid Finder schedule, and people aren't going to like this answer. So Ian's response to that is the reason why Raid Finder schedules are staggered compared to the rest of the difficulties, which are now just opening up all at once, is that they want to avoid spoiling progression groups. So in a sense, like teams like mine that run normal and heroic, we're the target audience, and we're being looked at as to why they've come to this sort of decision. He explained it like this, and he did say that he really feels for those people who just want to be able to just dive into Raid Finder, and explain that, well, on top of Raid Finder, that they get access to a little bit of that each week. People are able to play through the zone content and so many other things. So the way he explained it, let me get back to that, is that the team doesn't seem to want a situation where, like, let's say Raid Finder is opened up fully, like right away, and reasonably people are going to go in there to get gear, try to get set bonuses and things like that. And what they wanted to make it so when you clear the raid for the first time, it's pretty much on your own terms. And they don't want a situation where you've already cleared it with random people, but you haven't cleared it with your friends yet in whatever desired difficulty that you run. Now, I know I've said something like that too. I got railed on for it, so rail away. Just save your energy for Ian, because I already got a lot. So thanks. We're still going in the direction of connecting more race and class combinations. And Ian brought up an example. I think we were talking about this from another Q&A, like the last time we did this. But anyway, Ian was talking about Goblin Druids, and how Goblin Druids, if that's going to be a thing, there needs to be like some artwork, animations done so they can have their own unique forms. There also needs to be a story that's told. Like, hey, can you easily just hand wave a Goblin Druid being a thing? Probably not. I'm sure some players would be upset if there's just no explanation for that, as opposed to Tauren Rogues, which I think would need a bit more explanation, but oh well. So it's just a matter of time. Ian wasn't asked which class was going to be next in line. My vote goes towards either Warlocks or Shaman as the next race class combo that's going to be available for pretty much everyone. He did drop an interesting tidbit about Evoker race class combos being, he basically said that anything is possible. He didn't entirely close the door on it, so there's your hope. Flying, when it comes to the old style of flying in Dragon Isles, or having dragon riding kind of flying over in the old world, it's going to happen. It's in the sounds of it. The impression that I got is that it's in it's like in the planning stages. There are questions to ask that need to be addressed before the actual work gets done. But it looks like it's going to eventually be a thing. They just don't have anything on the timetable yet. There is someday going to be a bank revamp of like the reagent bank, the player bank, as well as the guild bank. This is not going to be a 10-1 change, obviously. He had said that it's going to be like a major change, like something not within the next patch or two. So it could be in a 0.2. At the latest, probably an expansion level change. The Timewalking event, or the Timewalkathon, he said that, hey, we've gotten great feedback from it, but it's not intended to be like a very regular thing, because they don't want to reduce time walking to be this very routine thing that just doesn't feel special anymore. But if anything, it is pretty successful as a catch-up. So he didn't say this, but my speculation is that, hey, maybe we'll see this like kind of as a regular 0.7 thing, because I think that worked out pretty well. There was talk about pronouns. I forgot about this from a while back, where the game was going to ask for your pronoun for your character, and in-game dialogue would reflect that. That is still a work in progress. There's a lot of technical work that goes behind it. He said, along with technical work, there's localization to deal with. But it is something that will eventually come once it's ready and once it's done right. And he talked about Dracthyr class combos. He said that the focus on the Dracthyr is them as evokers as they are right now. So they're just focused on telling the story of their identity, who they are, revealing all their secrets and what have you. But when Dragonflight's over, when the Dracthyr, leave the Dragon Isles and they start venturing around and they become pirates or who knows what, then things will change. Then, that's going to be the point where, they'll be more open for race class combinations with the Dracthyr. So part of me almost expects at least some combinations to be available as soon as the 11.0 launches. So like most things that were mentioned here, it's just small changes, baby steps. Let the story be written. Once it's done, they can kind of step back, breathe, and then implement things as they go. And that pretty much wraps all that stuff up. So sorry for the rantiness. I hope that this was palatable and digestible. Please like the video if you don't mind. Subscribe for more content. Catch me live, and I'll catch you later. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay breezy.